This week I'm going to be speaking about the horrible incident from Manipur where women were stripped and paraded naked, and then one of them was later gang raped. The incident happened on May 4th, but has come to light recently. But before I get into it, I think it's very, very important to make one thing very clear. We often have a habit, not just in this country, I mean it's universal, of comparing events to other events that have happened, perhaps in other states, perhaps in other countries, perhaps at other times, and then look at the reaction then and compare it to the reaction now. And it's probably the worst thing that people can do, right? I mean, because incidents like these are so shameful and so horrible that they need to be dealt with in isolation. Their perpetrators need to be dealt with in isolation. We also make the mistake often, again this is a universal mistake, of trying to look at the bigger picture, which in Manipur is really the kuki Métis ethnic strife. The women in this question, including the one who was gang raped, were kukis, but there are already these fragments of information coming out about Métis women who have also been raped. But again, I think by looking at the bigger picture, I think you just lessen the magnitude and the horror and the shame of what happened on May 4th in this particular incident. So I really think you need to focus on this. This story is horrible for multiple reasons, but I think it's really horrible for three specific reasons, and I just want to speak about those three. The first one is the kind of lapses that there seem to have been at every level. Right? The incident happened on May 4th. A village was attacked by a mob of Métis who were pretty well armed. Both sides have somehow ended up getting very well armed in Manipur. One of the fallout of this current crisis, for which I would hold both the state and the center responsible, is the fact that an area which was once demilitarized has now got completely remilitarized. Not good. It's a sensitive area in India's northeast border state. Just does not make sense for something like this to happen. Just does not make sense to allow something like this to happen. So on May 4th, the village to which these women and the family to which they belong was attacked by Métis. 5 of them, 2 men and 3 women, ran into the jungle, where fortunately they were rescued by the police. They might have thought their troubles were over, but unfortunately they were just beginning. Now here's where there's a slight divergence in the story depending on who you believe. One of them, of course, is the woman herself, and my tendency is to believe the victim rather than anyone else. She claims that the police just handed them over to the mob. Others claim that there are other narratives that say that the mob seized them from the police, but whatever happened, irrespective of what happened, it's clear that the police knew what had happened because they were involved in it. So the women were taken over by the mob. One of the men was immediately killed. The women were stripped and paraded. One of them was later gang raped. Her brother tried to come to her rescue. He was killed. All of this is known. This happened on May 4th. The police did nothing, though they knew of it. May 18th was when the first complaint on this was filed. Police did nothing. It took them till June 21 to file an FIR in this case. Great, they filed an FIR on June 21, still did nothing. July 19th was when the videos went viral, which is when they finally woke up. July 20th, they managed to arrest 4 people, which is shocking, right? I mean, which obviously means the administration, the police knew who these people were and just chose not to act, which reflects a kind of apathy and callousness, which is really shocking. So that's the first dimension that I wanted to mention. The second one is really the Chief Minister of Manipur, Biren Singh. His handling of this crisis has been openly partisan. He's a Métis himself. He engineered one big resignation drama and then eventually didn't resign. I mean, he had one horrible meltdown on social media, deleted all the tweets. But unfortunately, the thing about anything that has a digital footprint is it's there forever, right? So people have screenshots and everything else, kind of stuff that no chief minister should be doing at any time of the day, right? Whatever the excuse may be. And in this particular case, soon after the videos came to light, the minute he realized that there was national outrage, and it was national outrage that forced the Prime Minister, who since the beginning of ethnic strife in Manipur has chosen not to speak about Manipur. It forced the Prime Minister to speak about Manipur, forced the Chief Justice of India to actually issue an ultimatum to the state and the central governments. So clearly the Chief Minister of Manipur knew that the game was up, and put out a video where he claimed that he just got to know about the events, which basically means that he's incompetent, right? I mean, how can you not know about something as severe as this that has happened in your watch? Various people have spoken about how even if you want to set up a reconciliation committee and make sure things go back to normal, it's not going to be possible when Biren Singh is in charge. And part of this is because of the behavior of his government, under the guise of targeting drug smugglers who had illegally occupied vast patches of forests in the state. They launched an anti-encroachment drive which seemed to be aimed solely at the tribal population of the state. This was before the hostilities began. And when the High Court ruled about giving Métis scheduled caste status, scheduled tribe status, they didn't react rapidly enough and say that they would challenge this. They were probably happy about it because the dominant community in Manipur, especially politically, is the Métis community. And I think things will improve there if you were to remove this person. So, and it's a surprise to many people why Biren Singh is continuing in his job. That's the second dimension that I wanted to talk about. The third one is we have institutions like the National Commission for Women, the NCW, which is actually supposed to look at atrocities such as this. In this case, it emerges that a very specific complaint was received by them, which they chose not to react to. And if at all they chose to react to it, they chose to react to it in the most generic way possible. This is completely unacceptable simply because the current chairperson of NCW is the kind of person who likes to react to anything. If there's a vulgar song in a movie, this is the kind of person who reacts. Believes in conspiracy theories such as love jihad. So for this person not to react to something like this is galling. It probably, there's a larger message in this for everyone. There's a larger message in this for political parties of all hues. The minute you start appointing, making political appointments to bodies such as NCW, this is probably the kind of people that you will get. So all around, I think the administration, the establishment, the institutions, and all of us, right? I mean, we've all failed this woman in Manipur, which is really shameful. And I'm hoping that the outrage that has been created will force some hard measures next week.